Welcome to Emtron Training Part 53. In this training tutorial, we're going to take a look at working with our cal slot control feature within our Emtron. Our cal slot control allows us to select multiple different tables within each cal slot, essentially having multiple different calibrations in one single calibration file that we've loaded into the Emtron. It gives us a high level of flexibility. If we want to do a pump gas and a race gas tune, we don't need to switch our files. If we wanted to go and have different drive-by-wire throttle mappings, we don't need to go in and switch our calibration file out. We can accomplish all of that using the cal slot feature. We're going to go through how it works, how to implement it, and some examples and programming in this tutorial. Let's jump in so we can check out working with our cal slot control. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with our cal control within our Emtron ECU programming. Our cal control allows us to have up to 4 different calibration slots that we can toggle through in real time, so as the engine is running, and being able to have essentially 4 different tunes within just one single calibration file. It gives us a high level of flexibility in our programming, and we might want to implement this. We're going to go through how to accomplish that in this tutorial. First thing we need to do is actually go in here. If we take a look at the top, we find our area labeled Cal Control under our tuning window. Cal Control, if we go into our drop down here, has 2 different things that we need to program and set up. In this case, they're grayed out because we haven't enabled the feature to actually be active and start to do anything. So what we need to do is establish the Cal Control feature to actually be on so we can start to work with it. If we go from our tuning window into Config, and then we go here to Functions, Function Output Setup. Under Function Output Setup, if we move down our engine functions list, we're going to find that we have our cal slot control here, and it's turned off. We simply double click here on our cal slot control, go to Function Enable, and toggle it to the on status. Once it's on, we'll click OK here. That activates the cal slot control feature within our calibration file. Next thing we need to do, jump back into tuning, and then we go here to cal control. Now under cal control, we can actually click on and start to work with our tables here. Now what I'm going to do is actually open up both of these windows to take a look at working with the cal slot control and understanding how this is going to work. It's actually relatively simple, but there are some details that we need to make sure are very clear. If we jump to cal slot control here first, this brings up our table here. Now what I'm going to do right now is actually take this and turn this into just a two-dimensional table. I'm sorry. This is a 3-dimensional table. We're going to just use our x-axes and get rid of our y-axes. We don't need to make it any more complicated than we need to. So I'm going to simply click on my axes here, click A, and we're going to go to our y and just toggle it off and click OK and turn this into, again, a 2-dimensional table. We do not need to have a 3-dimensional table for this to work, although we'll take a look at some examples of actually implementing a 3-dimensional table. Now, this table, the way this is going to be configured, is going to specify which slot that we want to be in. Now in this case, slot 1 is going to be our first slot. We have up to 4 total slots, so we'll put a value here of 1, 2, 3, or 4, depending on the condition that we want to switch over to those specific slots. Now this table is set on engine speed, and then we have our slot position as a lookup against engine speed. Now most likely we don't want to do it based on engine speed. We want to do it based on either an on-off toggle switch or a rotary trim pot. We'll take a look at how to set that up here, but let's go in and take a look at the rest of our configuration here. So under cal control, cal slot table setup, this is going to define what specific function here is associated to which table to which cal slot. Make sense of this real quick. So cal slot 1, we program a 1 in our table here. This will take a look down this vertical column at all of our functions. And in the cal slot 1 configuration, for example, of our main ignition table, we have up to 3 tables that we can work with for spark timing. Table 1, 2, and 3. In this orientation, we're saying under cal slot 1, when it's toggled in this 1 position, it'll be sourcing all of the spark timing from our table 1. But we could say source it from table 2 or table 3, and then when I have it toggle in my cal slot 1 position, it'll look up that particular table as the actual spark timing source and ignore the other 2 tables. Now, we do find a lot of functions here that we can configure and work with, so we have to make sure that we're tracking and accounting for what is going on when we're selecting the tables versus the cal slot. Traditionally, in our cal slot 1, all of our parameters here, all of our functions will be set to our table 1 so that it's going to allow us to go in and just have everything being in the normal primary tables that we would expect to calibrate and tune. So for example, of a pump gas tune, let's say we have a pump and race gas example, everything should be on our table 1. However, if we're doing pump and race gas and we have our cal slot 1 representing pump gas, cal slot 2 would be when we drain the pump gas out, put the race gas in, we would set everything here to table 2. Now, fuel and spark timing here, definitely table 2. Drive-by-wire, if we don't want to change our drive-by-wire response, if we're drive-by-wire, we can keep a table 1. Launch table, maybe that's going to be table 1. Traction control table, let's say it's table 1. Boost targets, most likely if we're a turbocharged application, we'll have our boost targets to higher targets with the race gas to take advantage of that. Table 2 is most likely what we would switch to for the boost target. Engine speed limit is likely to be just the same. Requested torque, we might change that. That's going to be if we're doing drive-by-wire mapping. Fuel type, we have up to 3 different fuel types to deal with. Let's assume that we're just running, in this case, we'll go here to our fuel type 2. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.